You wake up one morning thinking you still have time, time to chase dreams, time to fix mistakes, time to grow closer to God. And yet life quietly whispers a truth most people try to ignore. Life is short, and every second that passes is a piece of it you never get back. So today is not just another day, but an opportunity that will never return in the same form again. And when you pause to truly reflect on that reality, something inside begins to shift, because you realize that success is not measured only by wealth, titles, or applause, but by the depth of your purpose and the strength of your faith. And this awareness is where transformation begins. In the quiet moment when you understand that God has already placed potential inside you waiting to be awakened. Just as many visionaries once stood at the edge of uncertainty, believing they were too small to make a difference, until faith pushed them forward. And the story of perseverance seen in people like Jack Ma reminds us that rejection, doubt, and setbacks are not walls meant to stop us, but mirrors reflecting how much we still have to discover about ourselves. And the deeper lesson here is not about business or fame, but about endurance, patience, and trusting a higher plan even when nothing around you seems to move in your favor. Because the human heart often seeks quick results, while God works through timing that builds strength rather than comfort. And perhaps right now you are facing confusion, feeling unseen, overlooked, or uncertain about your path, wondering whether your efforts matter. Yet growth rarely announces itself with noise. Instead, it unfolds quietly in the discipline you keep, the prayers you whisper, and the choices you make when nobody is watching. And this is why understanding that life is short does not mean rushing without thought, but living with intention, aligning each step with faith, compassion, and courage, refusing to let fear dictate your direction, because fear is powerful only when you accept it as truth. And once you begin to question it, to confront it, it loses its authority over your journey, allowing clarity to take its place. And clarity brings focus, reminding you that every day granted to you is not random, but meaningful. An invitation to learn, to serve, to rise beyond yesterday's limitations. And while the world often celebrates speed and instant gratification, the deeper wisdom lies in patience, in recognizing that lasting achievement grows slowly, like a tree rooted firmly in belief. And through that patience, you begin to notice how even failures shape you, sharpening resilience and revealing insights that success alone could never teach. And you start to embrace the uncomfortable truth that challenges are not punishments, but preparations, guiding you towards strength you never knew you possessed. And in those difficult seasons when results seem distant and answers unclear, holding on to faith becomes your greatest strategy. Because faith provides vision when circumstances provide doubt, and vision keeps you moving when logic suggests surrender. And this combination of persistence and trust builds a mindset capable of navigating uncertainty with calm determination, understanding that setbacks are temporary while character is permanent. And as you continue forward, reflecting on how short life truly is, priorities naturally reorganize themselves, making room for gratitude, humility, and connection, reducing the weight placed on trivial distractions and encouraging you to invest energy where it truly matters, whether in uplifting others, refining your purpose, or strengthening your spiritual foundation. Because fulfillment is rarely found in accumulation, but in contribution. And contribution requires awareness of how precious time ally is, and this awareness becomes a quiet motivator guiding your decisions, helping you forgive faster, love deeper, and strive harder, knowing that tomorrow is never guaranteed. And yet, instead of fear, this realization brings freedom. The freedom to pursue meaningful goals without hesitation. the freedom to trust God's design even when it unfolds differently than expected, and the freedom to stand resilient when doubt creeps in, because your journey is not defined by the approval of others, but by the conviction within your own spirit. And as this understanding settles into your mindset, motivation stops being something external and becomes an internal fire fueled by gratitude and purpose, reminding you that each breath carries possibility, each effort plants seeds, and each moment aligned with faith draws you closer to a life lived with intention. And so as you continue listening and reflecting, let this thought anchor itself firmly in your heart. Life is short, and the greatest wisdom lies not in fearing its brevity, but in honoring its gift by walking boldly in faith, nurturing your vision, embracing growth, and trusting that every step guided by purpose brings you closer to the destiny designed uniquely for you. As the journey continues, there comes a moment when enthusiasm fades and certainty dissolves into silence. And it is precisely in that silence that the real test of purpose begins, because motivation is easy when progress is visible, but faith is proven when nothing seems to move. When days pass without validation and nights stretch long with questions that echo louder than answers. And it is during this stretch of uncertainty that many abandon their calling, convincing themselves that effort has been wasted. Yet the deeper truth is that the most meaningful transformations occur in hidden seasons where patience is cultivated and resilience forged. And if you look closely at the rhythm of life, you will notice that every breakthrough story carries chapters of doubt that were never seen. And in those chapters, people faced rejection, hesitation, and internal conflict, much like the persistence demonstrated by Jack Ma when doors repeatedly closed before one eventually opened. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because determination refused to fade. And this lesson transcends business or ambition and points towards something spiritual, reminding you that God's timing rarely aligns with human urgency. And just when you believe you have reached the limit of endurance, something unexpected happens, something subtle yet undeniable. A shift in perspective that turns frustration into reflection and fear into quiet strength. And you begin to recognize that waiting is not emptiness, but preparation, shaping your character so that success will not overwhelm you when it arrives. And still there is suspense in this unfolding path, because you cannot predict what lies ahead. You cannot see which decision will alter everything, or which moment will redefine your understanding of purpose. And this uncertainty can feel heavy, even discouraging, especially when surrounded by voices celebrating outcomes you have yet to witness. Yet comparison blinds you to your own progress, convincing you that you are behind, when in reality you are simply on a different timeline. And embracing this realization frees your mind from unnecessary pressure, allowing gratitude to replace anxiety and focus to replace distraction. And as you continue moving forward, the awareness that life is short grows sharper, not as a warning, but as guidance, urging you to invest your energy wisely, to cultivate kindness, discipline, and faith, rather than resentment or regret, because resentment drains the spirit while faith renews it, and renewal is essential for perseverance. And there will be days when motivation falters, when the temptation to surrender feels logical, and restlessness clouds your vision. Yet in those moments you must remember that greatness is rarely achieved through comfort. It is carved through persistence, humility, and trust. And as you reflect deeper, another realization surfaces, that fulfillment is not found in applause or recognition, but in alignment with purpose, in knowing that your efforts contribute to something meaningful beyond personal gain. And this alignment anchors you when storms rise, keeping your direction steady when external validation disappears. and the suspense of not knowing whether results will come tomorrow or years from now becomes less intimidating when you anchor yourself in faith. Because faith transforms uncertainty into anticipation, encouraging you to see possibility instead of absence. And this shift in perception fuels courage, helping you take steps forward even when outcomes remain invisible. And through this process, you discover that fear is often an illusion created by attachment to control. And once you release the need to control every detail, peace replaces tension and clarity replaces confusion, allowing creativity and intuition to guide your decisions. And as these qualities strengthen, you begin to notice opportunities that once seemed hidden, chances to grow, to connect, to serve, reinforcing the idea that purpose unfolds gradually, not in dramatic flashes, but through consistent effort. And as the middle of your journey stretches onward, suspense lingers, not as a threat, but as a reminder that the future remains unwritten, shaped by the discipline you maintain today. And this knowledge transforms every action into something significant, encouraging you to treat time with reverence and intention, because each moment carries weight, each choice leaves impact, and Act step reflects the trust you place in God's design, and gradually you start to feel a quiet confidence emerging, not rooted in certainty of outcome, but in certainty of direction. And direction guided by faith offers stability that external conditions cannot shake, and this stability becomes your strength, sustaining you through challenges and guiding you through opportunities. And as your mindset continues to evolve, you realize that life's brevity is not a limitation but an invitation, inviting you to act with courage, to forgive with sincerity, and to pursue goals with unwavering commitment, knowing that hesitation only steals moments that cannot be reclaimed. And through this realization, you cultivate a deeper appreciation for every experience, whether joyful or difficult, recognizing that each contributes to the story you are writing. And as this paragraph of your journey closes, the suspense remains alive, whispering that something ahead will demand even greater trust, even deeper faith, and even stronger resolve, preparing you for the final stage where purpose, reflection, and conviction converge into clarity. As the final stage of reflection unfolds, clarity begins to replace uncertainty, and you start to recognize that everything you have experienced, every delay, every challenge, every silent moment of questioning, has been shaping you into someone capable of carrying responsibility with humility and confidence with grace. And this realization brings peace, because it allows you to see life not as a random sequence of events, but as a meaningful progression, guided by purpose and faith. And when you pause to measure the distance you have traveled internally rather than externally, you discover growth that cannot be quantified by material standards, growth rooted in patience, discipline, and spiritual awareness. And it is in this awareness that you fully accept the truth that life is short, not in a way that provokes fear, but in a way that inspires urgency to live meaningfully, to serve wholeheartedly, and to trust God without hesitation, because hesitation often disguises itself as caution while secretly limiting potential. And once you release that hesitation, courage begins to expand, pushing you beyond comfort zones and into territories where transformation thrives. And as you move forward with this mindset, you notice how priorities shift, placing less emphasis on temporary distractions and greater emphasis on lasting impact, encouraging you to nurture relationships, extend compassion, and pursue goals aligned with purpose rather than ego. And through this process, you come to understand that success is not about arriving at a destination, but about sustaining integrity throughout the journey. And sustaining integrity requires reflection, a constant willingness to evaluate your actions, refine your intentions, and remain anchored in faith. And while inspiration can ignite motivation, discipline ensures its continuation. And discipline flourishes when grounded in belief. At your efforts contribute to something greater than immediate reward. And reflecting on examples of perseverance seen in individuals like Jack Ma reinforces the idea that resilience is not born from convenience, but from conviction. And conviction grows stronger when supported by spiritual grounding, reminding you that achievements are fleeting if disconnected from purpose, but eternal when aligned with values rooted in faith. And as your understanding deepens, you begin to appreciate the simplicity of gratitude, recognizing that gratitude magnifies joy, reduces anxiety, and sharpens awareness of blessings that might otherwise be overlooked. And this awareness becomes a source of motivation, encouraging you to invest your time wisely, to act with intention, and to pursue excellence without losing humility. And as your journey continues, you start to realize that legacy is not defined by accumulation, but by contribution, by the influence you leave in the hearts and minds of others. And this realization inspires a shift from self-centered ambition toward service-driven action, where your accomplishments serve not only personal growth, but collective upliftment. And while the path ahead remains unpredictable, faith provides reassurance that unpredictability is not chaos but opportunity, inviting creativity, adaptability, and courage. And embracing this perspective allows you to walk forward with calm determination, unshaken by temporary setbacks, confident that each challenge refines your strength and each victory reinforces gratitude. And as you reflect on how far you have come, the initial suspense transforms into understanding, revealing that uncertainty was never meant to paralyze you, but to encourage deeper trust. And this trust becomes the foundation upon which your future is built, enabling you to face tomorrow with optimism, patience, and unwavering commitment to growth. And you begin to see how the message woven through every experience remains consistent, urging you to cherish time, strengthen faith, and pursue purpose wholeheartedly. Because life's brevity demands intention, and intention transforms ordinary days into meaningful progress. And as this final reflection settles into your heart, let it guide your mindset, reminding you that your potential is not confined by past mistakes or present obstacles, but expanded by faith, discipline, and perseverance. And with this awareness firmly rooted within you, continue forward with confidence. Invest in what truly matters. Align your efforts with God's guidance and embrace the responsibility of shaping your destiny with humility and courage, knowing that every step taken with sincerity contributes to a life lived with purpose, fulfillment, and spiritual depth. And as this message concludes, carry its spirit into your daily actions, remembering always that life is short and every moment offers a chance to grow closer to God, to refine your character, and to uplift others along the way.